Hello, hello everyone. We'll be starting the live here while I wait for some of you to arrive. It's a little bit of delay because I wasn't here when we flipped the TRECENA. That's why I apologize for not doing like in our usual time. And so today, I know we are kind of almost in the middle of this Tz'ikin TRECENA, but I'm pretty sure we can have like so many good insights with this live. I hope you all had a great past TRECENA, the Aq'ab'al, and I hope you all are having like a good Tz'ikin TRECENA so far. And just 1 second, guys, because I just returned to home and everything's been so hectic in here. So we are just about to enter Aq'ab'al, the 5 dia, and of course, as always, if you like to follow, like to see the graphics, where like to follow the day by day, you can all go to my website mayadaykeeper.me, and there you can see the calculator. There is the link here in the description where you can just jump straight to that, and you can go in the calculator, just search for today's date. You can see the snake graphic of the TRECENA. And so let's just rewind and just see what happened in the past TRECENA, and so we can connect the dots to understand this one. And so just 1 second, lads. So in this second, yeah, of course, yeah, I know like how you enjoy like whenever I do the live, so that's why I'm just even being a little bit late. I'm going back here, and also I think if you follow me on Instagram, I also posted the link because I already have an analysis of this TRECENA. Was like an edited version that I did a while ago. So just in case you didn't want to miss by the time, but today we're gonna be doing live. Yeah, I agree. Live is always better because I like this because I can connect with you. So for me, it's the best thing. So in the past TRECENA, we were in the Aq'ab'al TRECENA, the 13 wind. Also, everyone, if you are just arriving here in the channel and you don't know anything about TRECENAs and the Maya calendar, there is a playlist here in my YouTube channel that is called Fundamentals. In there, I have a quick videos explaining what is the Maya calendar, what are nawals, what are TRECENAs, so you can get informed by just diving into these videos. I think there are 2 or 3 videos over there, so you can understand a little bit better to follow this analysis. And also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe. I have been doing lives here in the channel once per TRECENA, so we can go through all of the day by day of the calendar. So if you subscribe, you won't miss any live in here. And And also, if you're enjoying the content, just don't forget your thumbs up because it would help me a lot here on the YouTube platform. So everyone, if you don't have any questions, also if you have any questions, just leave here in the chat. We can chat as I go analyzing the TRECENA. And so let's just start with our analysis. So past TRECENA, we were in the Oshlahu Yik, just in the 13 wind. That TRECENA we spoke about like was the emotions TRECENA, because we studied in Huntzi, one dog. It talks about the spring of emotions. It's the spring of emotions that were being driven by the 13 wind. There are like those emotions that could ended up exploding. Like it could be like a good explosion of enthusiasm, something that would drives us forward for us to achieve the things that we want to, the emotions that can explode, but at the same time, analyzing, also making it, strengthening your connections with the people you share emotions with, like your loyal ones, like your family, your relationship. Like that's the power of the emotional connection that the pastor Senna had. But also, hello Douglas, nice to see you here, my friend. And good that today you could join. So the thing with emotions, we can empower us to drive us forward. Like the Oshlahu Yek, the 13 wind TRECENA was a TRECENA that could just fuel us, explode with emotions, so we can drive us forward. We can feel enthusiastic about the stuff that we are doing. We feel like that passion, that in the air that makes things more pleasurable. So that was the biggest thing, like of the 13 wind TRECENA. But as emotions can sometimes drive us sideways and we cannot completely control them, sometimes they can put us into blindness. Sometimes like we are so stoked by these emotions, we are so happy about so many things that we ended up forgetting like the stuff that we are doing. Like we forget about the where we are going. Like sometimes we get blinded by these emotions. So that was maybe not can call like a downside, because sometimes that can take us to somewhere, but that could be like a consequence. It's a condition that the TRECENA puts us. So the 13 Yek TRECENA was this one that could gives us that big impulse for the stuff that we want to achieve in life, no matter if you are just applying to our business, or if we we would like to strengthen our emotional connections. That was the 13 Yek TRECENA about. But now we entered into the 13 ego TRECENA, Oshlahu Tz'ikin. In this TRECENA, we start with Aq'ab'al, one, clarity. So depending on what happened in the past TRECENA, if it was a TRECENA where we felt like we could fly, everything was very enthusiastic, we felt creative, like we felt like everything was flying, then we can start this TRECENA. Could be like a new clarity, a new dawn of lights that we are receiving here. And this TRECENA, so we have the opportunity to invest in the stuff that we achieved in the past TRECENA. But if the past TRECENA was the one that we ended up just being confused, we got overwhelmed by emotions, we didn't know how to proceed, this one, you maybe start completely in the dark in this one. Maybe we can start just like not knowing like where to go, what to invest. Because this Oshlahu Tz'ikin TRECENA is all about focusing. We're gonna be following the Tz'ikin, follow the metaphor of the eagle that is flying high in the sky, and whenever it sees a prey, it goes straight forward to the target. So Also, Tz'ikin can be connected to the midday sun, where we have the biggest heat, like where the sun can burn the most. So that's something that we can talk about now, Tz'ikin. So it's the straight light that goes straight to us. Just like Tz'ikin, we can also connect to everything in the sky, like the birds, but the real connection is going straight forward. And then so in this TRECENA, this is gonna be the key. The key is about focusing. So to be focused, you need to go straight forward into something, to an objective. So in nature, there is no straight lines in nature. The only time that we can see something straight is when the first rays of the sun start just hitting an object, like we can see like a light going straight into an object. So in this TRECENA, we start with Aq'ab'al, that talks about the first rays on the sun illuminating what is in the dark. So it's the first straight line that we must follow to clarify what could be probably in the dark. Maybe we just got an idea, we got excited about something in the past TRECENA, so we like to invest a little bit more in this one. So we're gonna be using this TRECENA to take things out of the darkness and shedding some light into them, so we can invest our energy, we can invest our resources into that to make it grow. So this TRECENA is going to be all about focusing, investing, and also getting, like, just focusing on the rewards that we can get in life. And so Hun Aq'ab'al is going to be the beginning of this light that goes straight forward, the light that we like to see something to ascend, to get a reward from. And so Hun Aq'ab'al, depending on how the past TRECENA went, if we become overwhelmed, maybe we can start a little bit gray in this TRECENA, a little bit, complaining about the stuff that we couldn't, touch. Maybe the wind just left us all over the place. So Aq'ab'al could have started like being complaining about like the scenario. So that's something that we need to take in consideration, because if we are not focused in this one, we can hit the wall. Just like if the ego is not focused where it is going to hit, it can be just like the birds that hits the window, because they cannot see properly. So that's something that we need to take into account. If we are not focused enough, we can't end up burning the stuff that we are building, our projects, maybe, or the bonds we just strengthened in the past TRECENA. So that's something to be taking into consideration in this TRECENA. This TRECENA can be really good for us to think about administration, like can be administration of a business or any personal project that you have, because Tz'ikin is one of the nawals that we can completely associate to business because of the use of the resources that we have. Tz'ikin talks about investing, just like when you take something from your economies, like be not actually about money, but let's talk about resources, and then you're gonna use that, you're gonna be spending. That's an act of Tz'ikin. So it's going to be about, we can also call this TRECENA the big investment to get like the reward that we are looking for. So Hun Aq'ab'al was to clarify what is the focus, clarify where we would like to go, like clarify what is the rewards we are intending to get behind everything. And then from Hun Aq'ab'al we shift to keep cut, to burning into ashes. Nawal 2 is a nawal of the retraction. If 1 is the spring, nawal 2 is going to be the retraction. It's going to be the water that goes back to get more strength before going forward. So it's going to be a moment to calculate. It's going to be a moment to project. And nawal cut is a nawal associated with the low fire. We talk about burning things into ashes, just like when we spend our energy for the benefit of the other, like to give life for the other, or to to bring or just make an effort to sustain to something. Yes, conflict precedes clarity. Yes, as arrows, no waiver. It feels important to distinguish. Exactly. Especially because this conflict could be like could be a sign of Oshlahu because it's very confrontative now, and that's what we need to take into consideration. Guys, just hang on a second because I'm just solving some stuff because I just returned here, and this I cannot live for just yeah. All right on. And then Cape Cod's gonna be this moment of retraction to measure our efforts. The retraction to see like where we like to project stuff. If this is the TRECENA of spending, investing our resources, two cuts is gonna be the now of calculating like the efforts that we need to do. Calculating what is the depths, like calculate like just like measuring how much we can spend into something and how much we need to take care of so we don't burn our resources down to the ashes. So that's something that we need to take into account in this TRECENA. So CapCut was the moment to project. Also the moment just to go back to taking one step back to see what went wrong in the past TRECENA. If CAT is the now that talks about the sacrifice we do in order to reach the others for the benefit of the others. In the past TRECENA we talk about strengthening the bonds. If there was something like a conflict in there, so we could use like two cuts to resolve that, to resolve this conflict, to resolve the problems, the traps. So we can calculate what to do better in this one. If we are talking about projects, two cuts the way to calculate what is the sacrifice that you're going to be needing to sustain your projects in here, and to avoid becoming burned out, especially if the Tz'ikin talks about the midday sun. Kat can talk about just projecting so you don't get extenuated and don't burn your energy just by working hard in the middle of the midday sun. Something that can burn you. And then from Cape Kat, we move to Oshib 3 stellar serpent. Now 3 is gonna be the water that opens the path. After now 2 that retracts, 3 goes forward. So now 3 is the now that's going to be trying to surpass the obstacle. It's going to be trying to diverge, to go forward. And now Khan is going to be the stellar serpents, the sound of the thunder that announce interventions in nature. So 3 stellar serpent is the nawal that talks about opening the path for the fury of the sky, opening the path for the intervention. So if we feel we are all over the place, so now Khan is now to make this intervention. If you are feeling dispersed or just completely in the darkness with the things that we are doing, Oshib served as just opening the path to make the obstruction, just putting could just make us turn into a place to get out of a dark situation. So it can also be the sound of that spark of light that the lightning bolts brings for us, that can also sometimes can disturbs us as well. Khan also talks about the now of the fury or the enemy, because sometimes we just get caught up in the illusion of time, the illusion of stuff, or we are just being manipulated by other people. So it can be the time for opening the path to break from this illusion, so to see things clear. So it's very important in this TRECENA to realize what is our focus, so we can intervene in order to not distract from what is our real purpose. And then from Oshib we move to Kahib Kame, which is for ancestors. Now 4 is now the water of the stops, or just is temporarily stationary over there. And now Kame is the now of the ancestors, is the now of the deceased ancestors, or the ancestral time that we are breathing in the air today, that talks about our ancestors. And then now the ancestors, we talk about the support, just getting the support. So for Kame is the now of establishment, the support we are getting, establishing or maybe it could be the now that can represent when we are stagnant with the suffering or frustrated about something that we could not get. So if we just got lost along the way with this stuff that we gotta do, we lost our focus. Maybe Kahib Kame could be the time for you to maybe get some people supporting you, or just getting like an incentive by some other people, or just can ask for the skies, for a direction or where to go. Today was a day, to listen to the ancestors, to thank them, to pay them like what we want them, like a candle or anything we got to offer in the altar. And then from Kahib Kame, we go to Hob Ker, five deer, which is going to be the now that is entering right now. Now 5 is the water that overflows, is the water that cannot be contained. And now Ker is the now of the deer. So the now of the deer, we talk about spiritual strength, we talk about the altar, we talk about grounding ourselves. So we talk about spiritual strength. So Hob Ker is the now of the overflow of spiritual strength, it's overflow of power, we can say, like it's too much power. And Ker belongs to the same nawal family of Tz'ikin. They both belong from the same family. And this family tends to talk more about spirituality and stuff like that. So in this TRECENA, we need to be focused. Maybe the strongest part of the TRECENA is where draws our stability. So to be focused, we need to be stable as well. So we can give more for us, like we can be extra focused. So Hob Ker is a day that you can give like 150% of your energy to apply on the stuff that we gotta do. It's a very, very auspicious day. Also can be a great day to perform ceremonies in the altar and to thank the ancestors, to pay for the debts that they left in here. So it's a day to continue with the efforts in here. So it could be a great day to pay tributes for the altar, as Tz'ikin is the now of paying, of spending, investing. Could be like the strongest investment you could do. Sometimes it's into our own spirituality, for our own spiritual strength, because that's gonna be like the most sensational stuff that we're gonna be drawing energy from. So if we're not strong spiritually, anything can just tear us down. We can lose our focus. So the stronger we are from the inside, the stronger we are convict about what we want to do, like we are grounded with our focus, the better. So that's Hob Ker is about. So just trying to avoid becoming reluctant in here, because sometimes Ker can be a little bit hard to move. But if you remember that today you can just invest 150% of yourself, you can get great outcomes from this TRECENA. And then from Hob Ker, we move to Wakib Kanil, 6 seed. Now 6 is the heart of the TRECENA, to put things into perspective. And now Kanil is now of the seed, is the seed that needs a complement to germinate. It's only the potential of something to come out of that small seed. So we're going to be talking about the heart of the focus, where lies the secret is the proportion. We don't want it to be just only to focus or just lose our head, just thinking about some stuff and ignore the others. We need to remember that we have like many pillars in our life that we need to sustain that. So as Tz'ikin talks about the heat of the sun, can also talk about the rain that falls from the sky, everything that is related to the sky, which gives the condition for the seed to germinate. We need to be aware of these conditions that we implement in here. And so six canoe is to ponder about, just to think about like what is being, what are the complements that are necessary for us to fulfill our purpose here in this TRECENA, for us to get a reward, to see like to project like how like what kind of abundance are we intending to get. Could be like material abundance, could be emotional abundance, could be any type of abundance. So we need to project very well here. So we need to think about like what's going to be the dosage that's going to be necessary to apply, or what are the complements that we need to fulfill that. So if we are so many ideas, maybe the complementary is going to be the actions we need to put in. So like just put in our hand, just be focused to complete that task. But sometimes like we just got like to just have these straightforward actions, but lacks us some ideas, some potential ideas. So a keep canoe could be the day where you can put things into balance to project what you want to get. Because canoe is going to be the next TRECENA, the 13 canoe. And then from from Wakib Canoe 6 seeds, we're going to move to Aq'ab'al 7, Ascending Fire. Now 7 is the climax of this TRECENA. It's the it could be like the final goal in here, like just like if you are in the top of the mountain or in the top of a canyon, maybe you can already see where the TRECENA is going to be accumulating. And now Thor, the Ascending Fire, talks about the sacrifices we do to achieve power. If Kat is the low fire that we do for like sacrifice for the other, now Thor is the things that we do for our own benefit. So we talk about like the things we choose to sacrifice for in life. We talk about the things that we have to pay. Sometimes we commit into something, but sometimes that stuff can be too heavy and we ended up just paying like with our sickness. Depends. Sometimes if we are just focused on getting money or material abundance, of course we can get that, but if you're not focused about the other areas, about our health or mental well-being and everything else, we're going to be having to use all of this money that we got to be paying the bills of the hospitals. So we need to be very aware of the consequences of our actions, like what kind of rewards we're intending to get from our focus. So that's why it's really good for us to clarify what's our real focus, like what we're really getting at the end, like after we are just harvesting our efforts. So this is a great lesson to clarify what's our real focus, like what's going to be like the final reward that Thor can show us, to avoid just getting sick because of this, like for not thinking about the consequences of the things we are investing in our lives. And then from Aq'ab'al, we're gonna come back, the TRECENA restarts, and we're gonna go to now 8T. Now 8 is the return of the TRECENA, is the second beginning, just like having to go to a place and for the second time. So then you can do things better, you can remember for the place that you already passed through. So you can just intensify and just see things accumulating until the 13. So you can see strongly like what Tz'ikin is pushing us forward down in time. And T, it talks about the emotions. So Washakib T talks about the return of the emotions. The emotions that started in the spring in the past TRECENA, now that was something that could be just very soft and light. Now you can see them coming back a little bit stronger. So now you know like what kind of emotions you are having to deal with. So it's the nawal that's gonna be just telling us like how we are handling our emotions here, because this is a very masculine TRECENA. So if we just got lost, like we lost our focus, maybe this can be the return of the confusion. That's why establishing the focus where you're going to go, clarifying what our goals are is extremely important. So we don't want to be restarting the TRECENA not knowing where to go or confused about what we are doing. So Washakipti is the now to reassure like where our heart is focused on. and to clarify, just to shine a light on what kind of emotions we are dealing with in this TRECENA, with the stuff that we gotta do. And from Washakipti, we're gonna move to Belair Bat, 9 Howler Monkey. Now 9 is the water that is heating from sight, something that is just staying in the dark. And now Bat is now the thread or the Howler Monkey. It's about connecting the dots, about creating solutions to put things back to order. You can talk about spirituality and arts as well. Tz'ikin and Thor, like are two nawals that are extremely connected to art as well, to create some stuff. So Belair Bat's going to be talking about resolving inner conflicts. It's going to be talking about resolving like some stuff that we couldn't fix, or like just getting like just resolving like just losing threads over there. And so you can reaffirm your focus, so you can clean from the inside, so you can see what you're gonna do. If you got stuck in the chaos of Naotzi, Bats can put things back into order. Also, Belair Bats can talk about the day of the pregnant woman, and it's one of the days that we can talk about that. So Belair Bats is a very auspicious day for you to take a creative time for yourself. It can be a time for introspection, to see or to unwind a little bit. If you're just to focus into something, then Belair Bats can be the day where you can unwind a little bit. You can just express yourself with creative stuff, to have like a good sense of light, to express like your clarity, just shine some light from the inside. And then from Belair Bats, we're gonna go to Laur E10 Pathfinder. Now 10 is a convergence. We can associate that with the lake that receives the water from the rivers or the other currents of water, and also gives to the land. And now E talks about the path. It can be the spiritual path, the road, the physical road, or the intellectual traveling. It talks about finding a direction, just giving a meaning. So in this TRECENA of the eagle that is flying high in the sky, just looking for a focus, now 10 we can talk about the crossroads of direction, where you can see like all the paths converge into a single place. Could be like whenever we can reaffirm where we're going. Sometimes we can get disturbed about the stuff that we are doing. Sometimes we can get confused about our path. Or sometimes we just feel like we are just walk in darkness. But we always have our friends, like our dear friends, or the people we care about, that can also just serve as our eyes to reassure for us where we are going. So it's nice to listen to others' perspective, and that's the essence of the now 10, because where you can just ask for the collaboration of the others to reaffirm your path. At the same time, you can also offer your help just to reaffirm other people's path, to reaffirm their vision of this stuff, like what should be their focus, what they should be taking into account in their life path. So to avoid then being converged with melancholies that this TRECENA can bring. And so it's going to be the convergence of this direction. Or also to help us to expand our focus and to expand like our goals. Maybe you can unite our focus with some other people's focus to create something bigger that can be great as well. And from Laur E, we're gonna go to Laur A, 11 transformation. Now 11 is a now that spreads. If the 10 converts, 11 diverts, just like now 3, but not as strong as the divergence of now 3. So now 11 can also works as to dilute something. So you diverge to dilute maybe something you have been holding on. And now we talk about the now of changes, the now of incompleteness, or the now of bitterness and cynicism. So we talked about just getting out of our comfort zone to do the necessary stuff to transform. It doesn't talk about what is already transformed as the now transformation that comes from Halbal talks about like what puts you into transformation, what makes you having to change. So if you got so many points of view, you got so many insights in Lauch E, so now could be a good time where you can spread some changes that you gotta do here and there. Maybe after just getting other some insights from other people's perspectives, maybe like you need to change a little bit in here, a little bit in here, to dilute what is incomplete in your plan, to dilute what is or maybe to help already have more perspective about the areas that you need to pay attention to, or to dilute, or maybe with the help of the others, you find your path again, or your focus again, maybe can help to diluting that bitterness. So 11 can be this amazing day to dilute something, or to help applying some different perspectives into something that you can change in there. And then from 11 we're gonna go to Kablaur Ish Palam, 12 Jaguar. Now 12 is the hidden balance of the TRECENA, something that comes to compensate suddenly. Maybe it could be something we are not expecting, could be a surprise. But the surprise could also sometimes gives us something extra that could be good. So it can work as the cash out of the TRECENA, the last moment before the accumulation. And Ishvalam is the now of the planet Earth, the aggressive side of the Earth. We talk about the material stuff, we talk about this aggressive development, or just like the exploration side to see how we can develop things even further. It talks about fertility as well. If we are just pondering about in this TRECENA like the dosage that we need, of course that's gonna be combined, like completely connected with our fertility in here. So the things we are developing, so like how we are just getting our resources, because Ishvalam represents the earth to talk about the feminine side of nature, like the gold. We talk about having like to explore, to develop something better, just like a gestation. So we're gonna be talking about just making the choices for us to invest, to use the resources later on. And 12 Ishvalam can also shows us what we can just grab, like not unexpectedly. Remember that everything has a consequence, like everything we're going to be having a reward in this TRECENA. But sometimes, like if we are not aware of the stuff that we are doing, sometimes, we can harvest stuff that is not going to be like as good, just like Seven Toch was talking about. Sometimes we're just too focused on money, or just these resources, and then we can end up just making this research to pay the medical bills, because they can just F up our well-being, like our mental health. So it's something that we need to be taking, like paying attention to, especially in this TRECENA. So 12 Ishvalan can talk about this extra money that you can get, like if you're developing stuff. Also, Ishvalam has a connection with the fortune, like whenever if you like to bet into something, to gamble, Ishvalam is now the rules gambling. Ishvalam loves that, by the way, loves this type of investing, exploring, just having like that type of feeling. So if you are into that, consider that Ishvalam is a great nawal for doing that. And then from Kablaur Ishvalam 12 Jaguar, we're gonna move to the ruler of this TRECENA, 13 Eagle, Osh Lahu Tz'ikin. Now 13 is the accumulation of the TRECENA, just like the ocean. And we are talking about the oldest, like what transcends, like what you cannot ignore. And Tz'ikin, as I mentioned, is the now of the sky, is the now of the midday sun, is the now of the rains. It's now of the bird that is flying over there. So it talks about the biggest focus. So if we don't have our biggest, so it's about like the accumulation of focus, the biggest hit, or the biggest investment. That's how we can name this TRECENA. So it's going to be talking about the accumulation of everything we've seen here in this TRECENA. Since the one clarity, like just trying to illuminate what's going to be our focus. Then you have to calculate what are our sacrifices, what we need to do to sustain this stuff, our resources into cut, to open the path for the intervention in Aq'ab'al, to stabilize or to get support in Kahib Kame, to overflow the spiritual power, overflow spiritual strength in Hob Care, to ponder the complementary elements that we need in Wakib Kanil, so we make sure we hit like our reward or estimated reward in Ukuptor, so we can come back with the emotions in Washa Kiptsi to gestate how to put things into order in Belayah Bats, to converge what is our direction in Laur E, so we can dissipate or just to spread the transformation in Hulaur Ah, so we can get like an extra development in Kablaur Ishfalam, so now we can take into the direct focus of this TRECENA, the 13 ego. If Ishvalan talks about just collecting the resources, Tz'ikin is the one that uses the resources. Just like every time you're gonna buy something, you're gonna whether it's you're gonna pay someone, like you're gonna give a cash, there's a Tz'ikin act. Or if just paying by your credit card, just putting the money direct into someone's bank account, that's a Tz'ikin act. So it's what we do with the resources that we have. So that's why you need to be very focused so we don't burn those resources that we have. We need to be smart on how we use them, because sometimes we're going to be needing that later. So the more focused we are in the things we are investing, the better. That's why this TRECENA can talk about administration, like how we can administrate our resources, like or the importance of having a focus that we should target on. So something that even if we get lost a little bit in the way, we kind of know the direction where to, like what could be like the end that we gotta get, like what would be our thought or reward. So that's the stuff that we're gonna be talking in this TRECENA. But we go to the downside of this TRECENA, we can end up being like a completely disturbed, because as the ego has this enhanced vision, like he can get disturbed very easily, just like when the ego targets to get a snake but misses the target and just goes straight to the floor. It's a complete disaster. And so that's why, in this TRECENA, we need to aim for these straightforward actions for the ego. So these are big investments in order to get the abundance that we need. The abundance we are dosing in this TRECENA, so we can make things grow in the next one. There's going to be the Kanil TRECENA that talks about abundance, talks about the potential of something to germinate, the potential of multiplication. And in this way, we've just finalized here this analysis of this TRECENA. I just arrived a little bit late. I wasn't with internet connection when it started, but by 13 Tz'ikin, September 3rd, 30, we're going to be doing our live TRECENA analysis, go back to normal. And if you have any questions about this TRECENA or the Maya calendar in general, you can ask me right now. And if not, we can close the live. Only if you have any questions. How does this TRECENA relate to it? How do TRECENAs work with you personally when your day sign is not in the particular TRECENA? So if the Yek TRECENA we spoke about the air of enthusiasm or just the big impulse just to take a flight, like just to fly, like to get the extreme enthusiasm, that opens us the room for the ego to fly in here. But if we fly so high in the past TRECENA, because we are just enthusiastic about the emotions that we gather in the past TRECENA that can sometimes put us into blindness. In this TRECENA, depending on how the past TRECENA went, like if we just got our target, we just got something auspicious from the past TRECENA, the Yik TRECENA, like something that got us excited, maybe in the Tz'ikin now we maybe kind of have a goal. Maybe we start this TRECENA with a light of an idea or where we should go, or kind of rewards we would like to get. Like where we would invest all of those emotions that we gather, like that gives us an impulse in the past TRECENA. And how do TRECENAs work with you personally when your day sign is not in the particular? So we need to think that we all experience all the nawals. We don't have one single nawal. Depending on the person can get from 13 to 18 nawals, depending on each case. So we are not attached to one particular. Of course, we have the Kamal B nawal, like our birth nawal, but we always have our personal counting as well. So you always go through all of the nawals. The TRECENA, what we need to do, like as I always mention, this is not in astrology. It's not something like what we need to take from the TRECENA is a way on how we're gonna think through the process that we gotta go through life. So if this TRECENA is talking about like investing, like how we need to take care, like we need to clarify our focus is, what we need to do independent of our now is just to make sure like we think with the calendar. If you feel a little bit lost or disturbed about something, as soon as you acknowledge that and you think with the calendar, what you can do to get disturbed. As I mentioned, like Lau'e, sometimes you can talk to other people to gather their visions or where we need to go. Maybe you can find yourself through that. Or maybe if you're just bitter about something or just having a personal wish, or maybe you had like something like you didn't expect to spend, or the past TRECENA just gave you like that tantrum. Like you can use this TRECENA to dissolve that, to think about like what would be like the most conscious decision that you could do in order to put your life back into order. Just like in this TRECENA we spoke about the Belay Bats. So it's about like the inner work, just resolving your inner conflicts, your inner problems. So it's not just about just trying to fall just like as an astrologer, just following the day by, oh, I need to do this by day. Because even today, right now, we are just starting the Aq'ab'al, the 5 deer. This Aq'ab'al is already connected to all the nawals of the TRECENA. Even with Aq'ab'al, that is already gone. So there is something of Aq'ab'al already here in Aq'ab'al. So we always need to think, that's a key something. Think always the TRECENA as one single entity with 13 heads. Despite we are just facing like that, we are just looking more straight to the head, to that entity, like as we are today, that the entity is more present today, it already is connected to all of other nawals. So that's how we can think, how we can move from this TRECENA. Of course, you can use the aspects of your own nawal, of course, the nawals of your, also like the other aspects, that involves with pregnancy and stuff, to see how you tend to deal with stuff. But it's not about just changing your nature. It's just a matter of how to realize how your nature works and how you can use this process of thinking with the TRECENA to arrive to the conclusion of where you want to get this TRECENA. I don't know if it was clear here in this with this answer. And so if I answer that, let me know. If not, I can try to elaborate a little bit more here to explain. Because there are so many aspects, like I see that many people confuse when thinking about the now. They only try to picture, things can only be auspicious like with their own now. like they are on waiting, like the return of the no. And most of people only think about the nominal nawal. But if I tell you the real key of understanding the Maya calendar lies on the numbers. The numbers gives the secret of everything. Just like I have, as I mentioned in the beginning, I have a video here in my channel, a playlist here in my channel called Fundamentals, where I talk about what nawals are, what TRECENAs are, like these basic observations that we can start just getting before analyzing the TRECENAs. So the numbers tell something that's going to be constant, and the nominal nawals, like the pathfinder, the monkey, it talks about something that is dynamic, just like the fire that is dynamic, that gives us like personality. But personality is oscillating, just like the fire. So we cannot expect, this is a good day or a bad day. They are just the nawals. It was just part of the nawal. It's just part of understanding of that. It's not about the good or the bad. It's just about understanding like what is the entity that you have in front of you, and how we can talk to them, or how we can direct things according to what happened from that. If you have any more questions, I can here to answer. This is my girlfriend's TRECENA. She's 11 but she was born just around the sunset. Well, when someone is born around the sunset, we need to pay very, very close attention to pregnancy conditions. Remembering, every time when we are talking about analyzing a person, just like you like to understand someone's now, we need to they're gonna be telling us what was the story of the relationship between the parents, and how was the gestation period of the woman in there, of the baby gestating over there, just absorbing the world from the mother's experience. So around the sunset of remembering, the time is only just about to see like how close you're about to shift from the nawal. But there are some nawals that arrive later, there are some other nawals that arrive earlier. But what is going to be really defining the nawal is going to be the pregnancy conditions. Especially because we're analyzing from Hulauch Ach and Aq'ab'al Ishfalam. They are completely different, pregnancy conditions. So you need to understand like the nawals of the parents to see like how the mother was facing the pregnancy. That's very important to see how it's going to be differentiating from other people who are 11 Ach, for example, or other people who are Aq'ab'al Ishfalam, if that's her case. We need to understand like how was like the father over there. You need to understand the scenario of the mother to really define what is the now, to see what are your tendencies of behavior, your dynamics of actions. So we need to dive deeper into this pregnancy, especially whenever there are some nawals, you don't see so much difference between one and another, but there are some nawals that are huge, like they are so different. So, but assume that she's 11 so it's a very strong TRECENA to be born with. Can make people sometimes very rude, but it all depends. So, okay, everyone. So thank you for the company here following the live. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, or leave here in the comment section below. I'll be replying everyone. And if you need anything, you can go to my website, mayadaykeeper.me. And so I'll see you all in my next TRECENA analysis in the regular time. As you feel the connected at times, explain again the path, comfort with abilities, before abilities versus the journey with you. Let me see if I understand. As we feel disconnected at times, okay? Explaining the path, comfort with... Well, let me see if I understand this question. Yes, we all can be disconnected. Like even if we know, like we kind of like know where you want to go, like what kind of job like you would like to have like in this life experience. Or sometimes when like like the people you are loyal to, or that something happened with you disconnected. Ooh, like our now, knowing our now is a way to find out where we can draw strength from. But it's talks more about like just recognize like what were your origins. Like the Maya calendar is a place where you can just put like analyze the facts. Like we all have our tendencies, what tends to put us down, what can takes or can just takes us away from our focus in life at times. We cannot run away from that. Even knowing many things, we cannot know this is part of the dynamics of life. But knowing our nows, like knowing like what happened, like how we behave, knowing like the impulses that we follow before we start using like language to think, like our barriers of culture and everything else, knowing the impulses that drives us towards a certain goal helps us, to clarify and go back, to track again. So it's about, to recognizing like what you are experiencing right now, and see like what are the best and the most favorable paths that you can follow that can guide you back to where you fell from. So just I don't know if I understand, if I'm explaining like I'm in the right path to explain to reply your question. But like this journey, sometimes we need to follow to understand our path. We need to take everything like as an understanding, because that's the key of the calendar teaches us. It's about understanding. It's not about just presuming something is going to be like just over there. You need to believe. Actually, in the Maya Highlands, what they tells us, is about stop believing. You need to, consult what kind of facts you are facing, but also considering like what kind of emotions do you feel. You need to reassure like how your emotional compass is guiding you. So if something happened like or that was out of your control, sometimes you lose like a loved one. Sometimes you lose like a certainty of a job that you're having, like you don't know like what to do. Like the Maya calendar just can teach us, how to go back on the track. Just to be calm, to know like where in who we could consult, they could guide us back. Or even if it's just time, just to grieve about a situation, because that's part of the process, is understand that that's going to be important. Or sometimes even to tell us, just stop thinking about everything and just give your breaths, just express yourself by your breaths, because then after you get a little bit of more peace of mind, you can come back thinking with more clarity again. So understanding this rhythm of the Maya calendars, how the nows pass or batons, we understand this dance of our purposes in life, and that can also speed up the like how we go back from where we fell. So knowing our now, like knowing like what drives us, like knowing our real strength, like knowing what happened to your parents over there, like know what your mother was feeling over there, that's behind like the goals that you target in life, or why you tend to choose to stay with certain people, already gives you an understanding of that. Because sometimes we can, what can happen, sometimes we can be disconnected because maybe we don't know like where we came from. We're just figuring out what life is, and sometimes we can just keep falling into traps, just getting involved with people that's only going to be just taking advantage of you, or works that's going to be only consuming you. So the nows can just direct you to what is the path you would like to follow. So that's the most beautiful thing that the Maya calendar can help us, is to reaffirm like what is behind that. So that makes like for us, like it's a like just go back so fast. Of course, it's not like a miracle. You're not gonna be suffering anytime, but you can have these enlightened moments just to, whenever you feel down again, you can go back up. Think about, even if you're happy or very enthusiastic about the past TRECENA was talking about, we still need to go down. Like, it's all about just following these dynamics of life, but knowing where is our central line where we can draw, like we can get stable again, we can find our balance back again. So at the same time, like if you are too happy, like extremely happy or stoked about something, and then after some time you get tired and then you go down. Or sometimes you're extremely sad or just completely lost, you just go down, and sometimes you are just sad, and then suddenly you just go back up, you go back to balance again. So that's about the dance of life. We need to understand that. But there are some other lines that we need to face that we cannot cross that. So it could be like we can target what is the safe path that we can walk, or not safe, because there is no safety or something guaranteed in life, but we can at least to have a little bit of more control of the stuff that is upon our reach, within our reach. Did I reply your question, Douglas? If not, I can try to elaborate a little bit better here. So guys, thank you so much for staying me here with this live. We got to go now because I got to resolve some stuff. So next live, we're gonna be continuing on here. If you have more questions, you can bring to me at any time. And I wish you all a great rest of this Osh Lahu Tz'ikin TRECENA. See you all soon.